Hello everybody, thank you for attending our webinar, More Refills, Less Effort, now at a lower price from RX Mobility. My name is Desmond Byrne from RX Mobility. I'd just appreciate if one of you would just come back to me and say that the sound is okay. Just indicate that the sound is okay. Just please let me know. Refill Assistant is our brand new product. It suits small to mid-sized compounding or hybrid compounding pharmacies and uses the same RX Mobility technology that we co-developed with PCCA. Price is now started at $129 a month, plus we have a limited $99 per month offer when paid annually. In this webinar, we preview the workflows that you can implement with Refill Assistant to reduce the main source of phone calls and interruptions in your pharmacy. I'll wait for another 60 seconds before I start, because I know quite a few people registered for this, and I'm going to just put on a 30-second video just to give you a quick overview, and hopefully this will work. I was checking it earlier on. Hopefully this will go
Tired
okay.
of making multiple phone calls to patients about their refills? Introducing Refill Assistant. Using the Refill Assistant mobile app, patients can enter valid refills directly into the PK Compounder to-do list. Once dispensed, patients automatically receive an alert that the script is ready. Patients even get an automated refill reminder based on the day's supply in PK Compounder. Remind, refill, dispense, repeat. Low introductory price. Sign up today.
For those of you who have just joined us, my name is Desmond Byrne from RX Mobility, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about Refill Assistant. It's our brand new product. It's been designed for and suits small to mid-sized compounding pharmacies, and it uses the same technology as RX Mobility. It's the same technology that we co-developed with PCCA for their PK software. Prices now start at $129 a month. Refill Assistant is a refill and patient communication platform. At its simplest, a patient downloads the app for free. Once downloaded, the patient becomes part of your automated workflows. The patient can submit a script from the app, and the script gets entered into the to-do list in PK software. Plus, the patient is automatically updated about the status of the script. For example, when it is being dispensed. The patient also gets refill reminders automatically based on the day's supply in PK software. And even if a patient does not download the app and prefers to use your website, they can submit a refill via a form on your site. These refills also get entered into your to-do list. With Refill Assistant, you also get a pharmacy portal, which allows you to communicate with patients without using a phone call. Rather than immediately telling you the benefits, I'd like to concentrate for a little bit on the hidden cost of phone calls in a pharmacy setting. The first hidden cost is that phone calls demand an immediate response. A patient calls you. "Thank you, Mr. Patient. Do you mind if I put you on hold for a few minutes while I check your refill?" Or maybe, "Can you wait for a few minutes so I can follow up with my colleague in the lab?" Wouldn't it be better if you had more time to give a measured response at a time of your choosing with a record of the conversation? Many corporations leverage the concept of asynchronous communications. An asynchronous communication is one that does not need an immediate response. And probably the best example in the corporate world is an email. An email comes into your inbox and you can take time to analyze and answer, plus there's a record of the conversation. This is an issue, of course, for pharmacists because emails are largely incompatible with the requirements of HIPAA. The second hidden cost is the labor cost of making or receiving phone calls, which is very expensive, especially if these calls are sort of more mundane in nature. A BHRT consultation call via the phone, great. Where is my refill call? Not so much. Just 25 outbound calls per day will cost your pharmacy approximately 84 minutes on average. When you factor in things like call setup, waiting for the correct person, small talk, discussing the action at hand, and follow-up. That assumes you get through to 50% of the patients. At $30 an hour, that equates to over $900 in labor costs per month. Double the number of calls per day to 50, and you're talking closer to $1,800 a month. The third hidden cost relates to productivity and workflow. Phone calls by patients can kill productivity and workflow. And there are multiple sources describing the effects on productivity and workflow. The International Journal of Stress Management cited that employees experiencing frequent interruptions report 9% higher rates of exhaustion. By comparison, the number one reason for exhaustion was overwork at only 12%. And according to the productivity author Tom DeMarco, if a complex task is interrupted, it takes 25 minutes on average to resume that task. People tend to do other things first and then get back to the complex task at hand. And in experiments run by Michigan State University Department of Psychology, skilled workers who experienced a 3-second interruption, that was only 3 seconds, made twice as many errors as those who were not interrupted. Which leads me to the fourth hidden cost. Calls are a source of interruptions, and interruptions are a source of errors. The American Pharmacists Association, in a report on safe medication practices and interruptions in pharmacy, states that 98.3% accuracy in dispensing medications is adhered to across all pharmacies in the US. That is across every and all types of pharmacies, from community, compounding, hospital, long-term care, and so on. But the APA found that interruptions doubled that error rate. The doubling of errors was further borne out by an Auburn University Department of Pharmacy Care System study. Their study on the impact of interruptions and distractions on dispensing errors in an ambulatory care and pharmacy found a doubling of dispensing errors when a pharmacist was interrupted when dispensing. And there are examples of staff trying to reduce interruptions. For example, nurses at 24 Californian Kaiser Permanente hospitals wear bright colored sashes to prevent interruptions while they are preparing medications. There are many sources of phone calls, both by patients to pharmacies and pharmacies to patients. Some calls are really very valuable, such as when a patient asks you about a consultation or wants advice on a topic like BHRT. But many refill calls are mundane in nature. Patients call to refill, to expedite, to check an order status, to ask a question about a script, and to ask about the delivery status. Among other things, pharmacies will call patients to remind the patient about a refill, verify an order, advise that the script is ready, or maybe that there is a problem with the script. Refill Assistant is about reducing these reasons for phone calls and reducing the hidden costs of those calls. It is a self-service tool for patients to submit and stay informed about their refills. Refill Assistant allows the pharmacy to generate reminders, receive refills, and message patients automatically using PK software. Plus, it helps patients to refill on time and enables you to easily engage those who don't refill on time. For the next few slides, we're going to work through how it works and the types of workflows that you can introduce into your pharmacy. Out of the box, there are 3 automated workflows when integrated with PK software. The first workflow is about getting refills from patients as efficiently as possible using the mobile app. The patient submits a script on the app. Valid scripts get entered into the to-do list, whereupon the patient is advised that the order has been accepted or otherwise. Once you have prepared the compound to dispense, another message gets sent that the script is ready. There are a variety of different automatic messages sent by the PK software to patients depending on the type of refill received. For example, the script might be invalid, in which case it is not entered into the to-do list, and the patient is sent a message that it is invalid along with a reason, which is one or both of invalid script number or incorrect date of birth. You may also receive refills that need to be reviewed by a pharmacist. The refill might be valid, but needs to be referred because it is being filled too soon, or may have no refills, or the refill may have expired. In all cases, a relevant message is sent to the patient automatically by PK software. The second workflow concerns refill reminders. Refill Assistant calculates a refill reminder date based on the day's supply minus your lab lead time. So, for example, if the day's supply is 30 and the lab's lead time is 3 days, then the refill reminder is automatically sent on day 27. When the patient receives the reminder, they can either ignore it or act on it. If they act on the reminder, the refill is entered into the PK software's to-do list. A relevant message is then sent to the patient. In this case, I've put one in that the order has been accepted. And as long as the patient has refills and you make use of the make new from old command in PK software, then the cycle perpetuates. Remind, refill, repeat. Plus, if a patient ignores the reminder, this is highlighted for you and tools are provided to enable you to contact the patient again without the phone. If the patient wants to, they can also access a refill form on your website. This is a HIPAA-compliant refill form that you integrate into your website. As with the mobile app, valid scripts get entered into the PK to-do list. But unlike the mobile app, refill reminders cannot be sent to those who use the website. With Refill Assistant, you also get an online pharmacy portal to help communicate better with patients. PCCA members have implemented a variety of different workflows around increasing refill adherence, two-way messaging by script, plus marketing messages. And I'm going to go through these one by one. Let's say I want to increase refill adherence by sending patients additional reminders. For this workflow, the patient will have already received a refill reminder generated by PK software, but has not acted on it. The portal shows you which patients have not submitted a refill by highlighting the missed date in red. In the morning, your pharmacy tech can log in, review all patients with a red mark beside them, and in a few seconds can follow up with the relevant patients. In this particular instance, all 3 patients will be sent a second reminder. Refill Assistant will track if they act or ignore the reminder. If the patient acts, the refills are entered into the to-do list in PK software, and if not, you will know to take remedial action. Recently, we introduced two-way messaging by script, which was the most requested new feature by PCCA members. The two-way messaging is a brand new feature, and it enables you and your patients to communicate with one another about a specific script, but without a phone call. Either you or your patient can initiate the conversation. For example, let's say the patient has submitted a refill and wants to know the tracking number for a script. All the patient has to do is enter a message into the app. Please send a tracking number, thank you, and then press send. That message will go into the portal and be flagged with a status, changed to new message. You can click on that script by pressing the view button on the right hand side, and once the script is open, you can press add message, which is highlighted in blue on the left hand side. This allows you to send a message directly to the patient. You can even include links in the message. So for example, you can include a USPS or a FedEx tracking number. In this instance, I'm responding to the patient and advising him of the tracking number. Once the message is sent, the patient receives a push message alert, plus the message is inserted in the script history on the patient's cell phone. And that brings me then to marketing messages. Marketing messages are slightly different to the previous messages we have covered. In this instance, you can send a common promotional type message to all patients who have downloaded the app, and you can do this simultaneously. For example, you may wish to promote a pharmacy event, such as an LDN seminar, or you may wish to run a product promotion, or even advise everyone that you are shut down for Labor Day. In the instance on the screen, I have entered a message related to a blog post I wrote. The title of the message is 7 New Productivity Features, and that's highlighted in bold when a patient receives it. This is followed by a description of the content, and I've had the description phone less, compound more. And lastly, I created a button which brings the user to the actual blog posts on our website. And the button is called View Webinar, and then the blog post is in rxmobilityapp.com. In your case, you may be promoting an LDN seminar, for example. You could have a sign-up form on your website. The button can be renamed Attend Seminar, and the link can be to the sign-up form on your website. The primary benefit of the tool is about reducing the hidden costs of phone calls, eliminating the need to immediately respond to patients about refills because the information is already on the phone, decreasing the labor costs of making and receiving phone calls. You don't need to make that refill reminder call any longer because the app does it for you. Productivity is improved and your workflow can be optimized by using the automated features of the app and PK software. And lastly, calls cause interruptions, and interruptions can cause errors. Reducing the call volume will reduce interruptions and decrease the probability of errors. There are a couple of ways to implement all of this. The first consideration is how the app is released on the App Store. For RX Mobility, which our original product, you have to set up a developer and an iTunes Connect account. iTunes Connect is a type of publishing account. And this is done with Apple. And once you do this, this enables you to release an app under your own name in the App Store. Whereas Refill Assistant is already on the App Store and acts like a container for your app. The second consideration is branding and marketing. Refill Assistant has limited pharmacy branding, whereas Refill Assistant Plus and RX Mobility are completely branded in the pharmacy's logo and colors. There are different options to suit different types of pharmacies. Refill Assistant offers the core refill and refill reminder functionality, which helps reduce interruptions and phone calls in the pharmacy. The subscription for Refill Assistant costs $129 a month. Refill Assistant Plus offers the same as Refill Assistant, plus it adds branding, two-way messaging, plus the marketing messaging. The subscription cost for Refill Assistant Plus is $249 a month. And lastly, RX Mobility. It suits small compounding pharmacy chains, larger 503As or 503Bs, and starts at $349 a month per store. Our advice is that RX Mobility works for you if you have at least one staff member who is an IT or marketing expert, because setting up RX Mobility takes just that little bit more effort. There's a couple of examples of things that need to be done with Apple that require some dedicated time. In all cases, PK software can be upgraded, and that costs $1,000, which is a one-off cost. At the moment, we have two limited offers. Refill Assistant is $99 a month when paid annually. And for Refill Assistant Plus, you can pay 11 months and get 12, again, if paid annually. In all cases of our Refill Assistant Plus, and RX Mobility, PCCA's financing partner, Lease Consultants Corp, will finance. So I'm coming towards the end of the webinar, and I'd like to express my gratitude for your attendance. I very much appreciate your time. I'm going to leave this price and feature overview slide up and take any questions that you may have. I think you can add them into the questions box on your screen. If you click on the questions, and they should come through to me. So if you just want to put them in there, and I'll answer the questions as best as I can. So I can tell you a couple of things that I get asked by members. Does it cost more to have extra messages, extra app downloads, etc.? And the answer is no, it doesn't cost extra. There's no hidden costs. Everything I have on the slide is actually what it costs. So no matter how many downloads or how many messages or how many pharmacists or patients use the tool, there's no difference in cost. I have a question about what if you already have an app, which is a really good question. And in instances like that, we do come across it when people do have an app with other service providers. If the app is branded in your own pharmacy brand name, fine. It could also be as a sort of a subsidiary app within a sort of a container. In this particular instance, I view Refill Assistant to be a container for, or a channel for refills, which means that it can coexist with another app if you wanted to, because it is Refill Assistant. And then if it's branded, the patient puts in your zip code and then it aligns itself to your brand. But I view it as sort of, it can be very complementary to an existing app if you already have an existing app. So that is possible to do that. And I can think of one or two pharmacies that have done it. I have also been asked the question, will this work with our PK's new software, RX Dispense? So that's another great question. I got asked that recently. So I've been in contact with Michelle Biggs, VP of PK Software, and absolutely the answer is yes. We've already been started initial work on integrating the two platforms. And in fact, some of the early adopters for RX Dispense are RX Mobility customers. So we will be actually putting a version of that in place for them shortly after they go live. So yes, it will work with RX Dispense. Any other questions coming in? So also I get asked sometimes, if you're thinking about the program, how many pharmacies are using this? We have over 100 PCCA members using RX Mobility or Refill Assistant. And since we've integrated with PK Compounder, which is about a year ago now, they have had great productivity improvements in their pharmacy lab and in the pharmacy. So I've asked another question: can prescribers send in orders via the app? That's a good question. So really, this is really a patient refill app, is what it is. So, I mean, theoretically, a prescriber, and I'm specifically thinking of a vet prescriber, could send in a script order via the app. And I know some pharmacies use it that way, but that's not its intended purpose. It's really about improving the workflow related to refills. And I have another question about, does it conform with the state Medicaid rules? The answer is yes. I'm not the expert on that, but it has been designed in conjunction with PCCA to conform to the various Medicaid rules. So the answer is yes to that. If there's any other questions from anybody, if you want to put them in. So I can, if you're interested and you want to proceed, then we have, I just put a link here for you. I'm going to send through a pricing link and it'll bring you through to the website. We do have a 7-day, if you like, cool off period. So if you sign up and you're not 100% happy with it, then you can just cancel it in 7 days, and that's not a problem. I have another question about, when a patient requests a refill, can there be a customized messages such as pending approval from adjuster? So that's a good question. And yes, you can have you can customize messages, and you can send an individual message to a patient about that particular script, and you can put whatever text you want into it. I didn't show you that on the slides, but yes, that is possible. And I have another question about, does this work with the new version 6 of the compounder and telemanager IVR system? It doesn't. So yes, it does work with version 6 of the compounder. In fact, that PK cost that I'm talking about, that integration price, means that PK compounder has to be upgraded to level 6 or higher. Plus, there is what's called an integration server that needs to be set up by PCCA, and that's what that cost covers. And if there is a telemanager IVR system present, that's fine. The app will work with a PK compounder if a telemanager IVR system is present, and equally if it's not present, it'll work as well. So it doesn't matter. I hope that answers that question. If there's no more questions, then I will say thank you very much for coming to our webinar. A video will be distributed after the webinar, and I will also send you the slide deck. If you have any questions, please, I'm on des@rxmobilityapp.com, or you can get me on 352-541-1537. Thank you all for your time. It is very much appreciated. Thank you, and bye-bye. Thank you.